58. Oh!
Let me break down how I was able to shoot this video. So I like to take my time to map out songs that I choose to work with. I like to take my time to script, costume, map out the background that I would want to shoot on, and then sound design, of course. But for this particular song, that wasn't the case. This was one of those days where there was no scripting.
No script, no crew, no auto cue.
The idea just came and I just had to go with the flow as the adrenaline was pushing. But in this particular case, I couldn't do it on my own.
You can't do this on your own.
So I called up my guy, Bobby the Creative.
And then it began.
I did have doubts though. I wasn't really sure how the result would be, but I just wanted to continue going with the flow. I didn't want it to stop.
Keep going, don't stop.
I was able to divide the video into 6 scenes. Scene 1 being this.
58. Oh!
So I wanted this scene to start with a captivating hook. Just like those intriguing hooks where we have maybe like an accident about to happen and then it cuts into somebody trying to sell you something. That was what I was going for this particular scene. So I made some research and I found this video and I felt like I could work with it. All I needed to do now was to find the perspective of where I want to start and then match it and then do that same activity and then I start running. This then cuts into me running on the road along with clones of myself, except this time I'm like running faster than them. For this to be achieved, I had to be on one side of the road while Bobby was at the other side of the road with a steady hand and a steady camera. We were supposed to run on the same speed, but while he was running, of course, the camera was like, when I saw what it looked like the first time, I was like, no. We did it about 4-5 takes. It was getting frustrating. Suddenly, a bike man dropped somebody off. And then we thought like, Bobby, why not just sit on this bike and then move with the bike? Since the bike can stop you from having all those leg running and all of that. So we had found a way to get the bike a bit in front of me while I was a bit behind the bike.
Yes, down the record. Okay, they go small.
I had to make sure that the bike was going slowly while my own run too was not too fast, because I was still going to speed it up in post-production and also track my head and still rotoscope myself out of the scene so that I can duplicate myself.
Easy. It's not easy.
And that was how we achieved scene 1. Now, scene 2.
Lost too many soldiers not to play it safe. If he walk around with that stick, it ain't Andre 3K.
This was one of the most taxing scenes. The idea here was to have me at the center while the camera have like a circular motion around me consistently while I'm changing poses. The challenge was having to make sure that the circle is consistent. So for us to be able to achieve this circle, we had to get stones and put stones on the floor to create like a giant circle so that it's going to guide Bobby as he was going round. And you can get carried away as the camera person. So we had to have somebody else guide Bobby. And I had to make sure that the movement was slow so that in post-production I can make it faster. It was really tedious. But first, we had to link the first scene to this scene, which had me running. So I had to first of all act like I was running at a spot before the camera pans out and then starts moving on a circular movement, with me having to switch positions.
One change style.
Some of the poses were very frustrating. The most tedious moves throughout all of this was this particular move here. Remember, it was moving in slow-mo. I almost broke my back.
I'm on my lap.
Almost there, almost.
Kashi.
I had to also remember to maintain that steady movement throughout.
Don't finish.
And this was how the outcome looked like.
Lost too many soldiers not to play it safe. If he walk around with that stick, it ain't Andre 3K.
Scene 3. It wasn't really demanding. I just had to stand on different positions and take different poses with different costumes just to have the feel of the location, so that in post-production I can just duplicate myself and then make myself like do the turning instead of the last scene, which was the cameraman doing all the turning. And this was what it looked like.
Won't drop the location, I still got PTSD.
Scene 4.
Motherfuck the big 3. Nigga, it's just big me, nigga.
So that line was really one of the strongest part, and I felt like big 3 equals to 3 people and then just big me. Obviously I felt like it's going to give this giant feel of the giant hitting the remaining 3. So I had to act out the 3 by standing, turning around and striking a pose in 3 different costumes. Well, after the first turn, each of them had to have their moment where they like fly out, where they are being stomped, which then required us bringing a bed to the scene. a bird. I literally had to jump several times till I was comfortable with something that I like. It was not easy. I kept jumping and falling and jumping and falling and jumping and falling. After all of the falling, then I had to now shoot the part of the big me, which was like a giant. We had to reduce the perspective of the camera in order for it to make it look like I was big. And then when I raised my feet up, as soon as I hit the floor, the camera was meant to pull backwards, which gave us this result.
Motherfuck the big three, nigga, it's just big me, nigga. What?
Scene 5.
I'm really like that. Can your best work is a light pack, nigga. Prince outlived Mike Jack, nigga.
So for this part, I wanted to have this anime feel where I was also moving like Flash. We have like 3 people in front, and then there's this bad guy at the back, and then he moves with super speed, like 1, 2, you know, he hits this guy out, kicks this one, and then smash this guy. And again, we also now had to do another falling, except this time I had to do it twice. One was with me just standing with my arm crossed and then act like something hit my leg off and crash. And then we had the other one of me just facing sideways, jump up and crash. Merging them together, it gave us this.
I'm really like that. Can your best work is a light pack, nigga. Prince outlived Mike Jack, nigga.
And last but not the least, scene 6, the graveyard. The idea was to have a graveyard setup. But how do you have a graveyard setup? AI to the rescue. With the help of the generative AI in Adobe Photoshop, I was able to make this happen. So I played around with the generative field in Adobe Photoshop till I got something I was comfortable with by changing the walls, brick walls, the grass, mountains and the moon. Basically something to give me the feel of this evening or nighttime feel on the graveyard. Then for the tombstone, I had to download 3D assets and fix into the scene. Then I had to now shoot myself with a shovel, which I didn't even know there was going to be shovel in this scene. So I had different scenes of me walking in and taking a pose with my shovel, and then the last guy walks into the scene, looks at the camera, and then acts as if he digs a hole and throws the dirt to the camera, which was supposed to be the end of the video. But because I like to do loops, I want the end to be the beginning. I had to this time make the dust particle to become the bike from the first scene.
All your dogs getting buried. That's a K with all these nines. He gon' see Pet Cemetery, nigga.